Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to check out this video. This is the removal of a subterranean yellow jacket colony that had made its way down through an old post hole in a client's yard and had made its nest down under into this cavity that they had excavated out. This nest was down almost 2 feet, which is one of the deepest nests that I've done yet, aside from a video that I have not posted yet, which I'm really excited to share that with you guys. If you guys haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so and hit that bell notification. That way you guys can get an update anytime I do post a video. Here's the removal of a subterranean colony. Here's the video. Check it out. So this is an eastern yellow jacket, which is Vespula Maculifrons, and they make subterranean nests primarily. So whenever I start with a ground nest, I kind of plug the hole until I get things set up, and then I release the demons and they start flying out. I'm just trying to vacuum up as many of the adults as I can. I'm not necessarily trying to get all of them. So if they fly past the vacuum nozzle, it's not a big deal. So basically what happens is if they fly past and they get past the vacuum nozzle and they don't get sucked up, basically, they'll just swarm. They don't fly away or go off and start their own colony. They're just workers, so they will just fly out and they'll swarm me, and then they eventually fly back to the hole, and that's where they'll probably get sucked up. Sometimes if they just are swarming too heavy, I'll pull out the black flag and I'll kind of like spray like a misting shots into the air, and they'll fly through it and get it on them, and then they drop and die. So there's really not a concern about them flying away. There's been some misconceptions in the comments that people think that I'm letting too many of them go, but it's just a misunderstanding of how the method is. I basically just vacuum up as many as I can, and eventually they fly back to the nest and get vacuumed up, or they get vacuumed up in the beginning. So either way, they're getting vacuumed up or hit with the black flag. So I just kind of spend a lot of time here just getting the numbers down as much as I can. What you don't want to do is just start digging into the ground and then they start swarming. I have seen some videos on YouTube of these guys that they go into these ground nests and they just dig out the nest, and they're just, inundated with freaking swarm of yellow jackets. And by that point, it's like, man, the only thing you can do is spray black flag or some sort of, insecticide fogging spray. So I try to keep my spraying down to a minimum. I don't really like having to spray, especially just into the atmosphere. So my method is mainly just to vacuum them up as much as I can to avoid having to use any kind of insecticide. So the interesting thing about this particular nest is that this hole is not a natural hole. This is not made from a rodent, which is normally what yellow jackets, subterranean yellow jackets nests are built in. They're usually built in a rodent hole, and then they excavate it out to make a larger hole. This was actually an old fence post. I had asked the customer, like, what did something used to be over here, because this hole is not natural. And he said, yeah, like back in like the 60s, they had like old fence, like an old steel fence lining the property, and I guess was set back in like 20 feet in the property, and I guess they had these fence posts, these steel fence posts, and had pulled them out over the last couple of years. So what I'm seeing is actually an old steel fence post hole. So when you see down the bottom here, it's pretty incredible, because the fence post is really like probably 2.5 inches wide, maybe 2 inches. And down in there where the actual nest was, which was practically almost 2 feet down, it was ways down, was a massive cavity. So they had dug all of that cavity out, and it's pretty incredible that they can do that. They just do it like little tiny grain of dirt by dirt, they'll kind of like chew it with their mandibles, get it wet, and then ball it up, and then they haul it out, and they'll drop it somewhere in the yard or whatever as they're flying away. So, anytime that I'm doing a subterranean nest, I have to get to the nest. And I'm always curious about how the customers find the nests. So this customer had actually been mowing his grass, and he started getting swarmed. So he stopped mowing this particular spot, and then moved and kept mowing around, and he got stung again because there were 3 nests on his property, and they're actually previous videos that I've already posted. So I did all 3 of these subterranean nests in one day, and it was freaking hot. But this is the first one, so I wasn't quite as hot during this one, but the last two I was like, heat exhaustion was setting in. So I'm finally exposing the nest. You see this entire cavity here. That whole thing was carved out by the Yellow Jackets. That was not some sort of man-made hole or cavity. So the only man-made part of this was the tunnel going down to it. So the founding queen climbed down that hole, probably to the bottom where that fence post rested, and then started digging this out. And then as her brood started hatching and workers started developing and hatching, they started digging out themselves and got this thing absolutely ginormous. So with this being Eastern Yellow Jackets, their envelope is really, really brittle. So really all it takes is for me to just kind of swipe it with my hand, and it just crumbles like a dry cookie. So instead of trying to like dig it out with my hands and things, I just use the vacuum suction just to kind of catch the pieces of comb and then just pull them out of the hole that way. But you can see when I would bump it every now and then, you can see how much of a mass there is down there by the amount of dirt that moves around it. So with these deeper holes as well, like when I'm trying to get the soil out of the way so I can see what's down there, I just use the vacuum. I just let it suck up a bunch of dirt. It's not going to hurt it because it just goes and it gets caught in the soapy water inside the canister, and doesn't really hurt my filter too much. So this particular species is a Eastern Yellow Jacket, which is Vespula Maculifrons, and they primarily make ground nests. Now I did do an attic nest removal, which is one of my most recent attic nest removals, and that was a Eastern Yellow Jacket as well, and it's really surprising to see them making a cavity nest as opposed to just a ground nest. But yeah, so there's no like absolutes when it comes to nature. I mean, even though these are primarily a subterranean species, they can make spatial nests as well inside of cavities and things. So this is kind of slow going, piece by piece by piece with the vacuum, but you can kind of notice at certain points that chunks of the comb break off and get sucked up into the vacuum themselves. And some of the adults down here are actually males, so this was a full-term nest, so they probably were just starting to release queens, and which it's kind of sad if you think about it. They have this massive, awesome cavity down there, and then the queens release, mate with the males, and then they go off and find a new place, and this nest would probably be obsolete by the next year, and there wouldn't be any adults left inside of it. However, with it being so low in the ground, I have to wonder if this wouldn't also become a multi-season nest, just being away from the elements. Queens maybe mating and then staying down inside the comb, and then emerging the following spring and pretty much just picking up where they left off. It's hard to say about subterranean nests because I've never actually pulled out a multi-season one, being up here in PA. Our frozen ground can get down to, you know, almost like 2 feet down, so it would be really hard to say whether there could be multi-season nests of a subterranean species. So this is the cavity. See a lot of males and new queens and workers down there, but that's a decent sized hole. Alright, so I'm feeding the squirrel today. Got a bunch of wasp nests brought home, and gonna get him fed some larvae. So let's get him over here. Hey, squirrely squirrel. So I gotta go this way. Hey, squirrely squirrel. Alright, bring the light over. Alright, a little bit of milk first. Wet the whistle. bit of sustenance. So I'm going to tweeze out a little bit of larva for him. And let him eat it while I tweeze it. Leaving it. Squirrely squirrel. Hey, I have something for you. Here. See? Look. See? That's all. Oh, don't eat on me. So I'm going to give you guys a quick little tour around the 2 rooms that I've been renovating here at my house. This one is my office space, which I've done a couple little intro shots here in some of my earlier videos, just showing you guys some progress that I was making. Then I have another room upstairs. It's going to be my music room, which used to be Humphrey's room. So you remember that being just a cluster mess of junk that I'd been storing over the course of the last 4 years. And then he was actually living in my piano, which that piano was in disrepair, so I'd actually torn it apart and scrapped it. So I'm going to clip that in now for you guys.
Hi, Squirrel Squirrel. Hi, Squirrel Squirrel. Hi, Humphrey.
What are you yelling at? Is there a pedo outside?
Look, I refuse to believe that there is an irrational
Nighty night, piano.
for all this, and I hardly doubt that Bigfoot is dry rubbing his dinner with barbecue sauce.
Of course he isn't. It's apples and oranges. The octavoid is dry and need no sauce.
Look, the show must go on, right? We gotta get inside that cave.
It's almost done. At least getting it studded out for now.
I'm also sensing that Bigfoot might have a green thumb, which is weird.
Because he's different.
As you guys remember, this is where I used to keep Humphrey. It's actually a lot cleaner than what it looks. So studying this out, just about finished getting this studded out now. It's like 7 o'clock at night. Been doing this all day. But once I get this door studded out, should be smooth sailing and start hanging the drywall. There we go. Alright, so this is the music room that I've been working on. All my drums and stuff are in here while I'm getting this all situated. And I have some visitors tonight. Yes, I know. It's so cold outside. The walls are finally up and done.
Hi, Ginger. Hi, Pigeon.
Settle. Just brought the girls in because it's about 15 degrees outside and they refused to sleep in the coop because there was a possum that got in and actually had killed Amber and attacked her in their bin. And I came in and found her being eaten by the possum. So I had to take care of that situation. Anyway, so this is the music room. So this is where Humphrey used to be running around. You guys remember he used to be in there was a chair over here, and my piano was over here. So getting everything situated, got new walls built, so this is all new drywall. I built this wall here, put drywall on it, ran new electric. There's 2 new outlets down there, and I ran more electric over there. Plus I put in ceiling lights. There used to be just one bulb light there. So I ran new pocket lights, which is awesome. So yeah, so right now I have the heater going while keep the girls warm tonight. Pigeon's just a little funny about me standing here talking. She's a skittish one. But it's funny that whole platform to sit on, and they'll sit on the rail.
Pigeon. Hey, Pigeon. Hey, Pigeon.
Oh, what a nice pigeon.
Ginger.
So Ginger's finally getting over her molting. Her tail feathers are finally coming back.
Hey, Pigeon. Hey, Ginger.
So in my firewood, these are grubs that actually are a beetle grub, and they eat the oak logs.
Chippy, chip, chip. Chippy, chippy, chip. Chippy, chippy, chip. Chippy, chip. Chippy, chip. Chippy, chip.
You know, here's one here. There you go. Alright, night night, girls. I bought this paint sprayer about a year and a half ago, and I used it once. It's nice to get some use out of it again. Alright, so it's just about finished. I just have to put down the carpet. I've done everything in here. I did the lights, I did drywall. The only thing I didn't do, I had a buddy of mine come over and help me stud it out. So I had other stuff I had to get done, and so I just put the last coat of paint on. As you can see, it's a little bit strippy right now, but once that dries, it should go away. So I laid down the underlayment. This will be my first time putting down carpet on such an actual room. But I can pretty much do everything else, so I should be alright with it. This is concrete down here. This is a basement. So I'm going to be, I put down these tack strips, but the nails that they gave me were a little bit too soft. They were bending and spawning off the concrete, so I used some Loctite construction adhesive and glued them down. That stuff holds like frickin' nobody's business. So that should be good in the hood. And I did tack in some of the nails I was able to get in, so there are some anchors into the concrete. So I ground off the concrete with my grinder and then put that glue down, or adhesive, and then put the tack strips down. So I got a cool, this used to be, you know me, I like to recycle. So this is actually Nike pad, which is basically just ground up old shoes, not used shoes, otherwise it smell like feet, but shoes that are no longer in fashion. You know me and my fashion sense. But yeah, so it's nice that gets recycled, so I like to use that Home Depot product. So I just have to put the window in yet and do the trimming around that, and then get the carpet in and put the baseboards down. I have to buy the baseboards yet, but yeah, look at that mess out there. Oh my god. Nice and clean in here though. I'll be getting my carpet down, then put the desk in here, get some of my camera and lighting stuff in here. So pretty stoked. All right, I'll show you when I have the carpet in. So the room's pretty much finished now. I got the baseboard in for the most part. I didn't run it all the way over because I'm going to be taking this door jamb out and hanging a new door and bringing the door jamb all the way out to the drywall. Then I'll be putting on some nice wide trim, but everything else is done. Got the bulkhead all covered, and been using this as my lighting and my camera work, which is kind of the reason why I wanted to do this room like this. So I got my better audio running right over to this is my audio computer. So this runs all my music. When I record my music and stuff, I record through this board. When I record out in the field now, I'm going to be using this digital audio recorder, which has XLR inputs, and that runs right over and uses phantom power and runs over to these Shure PG42s that I use, which is what I record all my audio music on. So using those for just basically the voice audio for my videos, I'll be using that now because it has this one can use has phantom power capability. So I use this computer mainly. I have like 5 or 6 hard drives. That's my computer. What's that? I got a bunch of hard drives that I bring all my videos on. So I don't know how many, probably like 10 hard drives, like a couple terabyte a piece. And then over on this computer, this is where I do all my video editing. And so whenever I'm done with my camera work, I come in here, plop all my video software, or all my raw videos on here, and all the audio on here, mix all the audio down, and then eventually put that onto a different drive, and then piggyback over to this one. And as you can see, this is the video I'm working on now, which you guys are watching at this very moment. How weird is that? So then I splice the audio in with the video, and that way I can have decent audio. Like right now I'm just using the audio wave from this phone, so you're not really hearing the quality audio that I'm even talking about. So yeah, the carpet turned out great. That was my first time putting down carpet, and yeah, I'm really happy with how well I did. I still have to splice a lot of the baseboards, but I'm not going to bother with any of that until I get until I finish the baseboard there and do the threshold piece there. So yeah, so it's coming along nice. As you can see, I'm updating production here, and I'm excited to increase my production value and give you guys a clearer video to watch and something that's a little bit more enjoyable and easier to follow without being distracted by poor lighting or poor videography. So as I learn some new techniques and step up my production and actually building new rooms in my house and things, so that way I can make a better sound stage and video stage to present my videos and my content to you guys. If you have suggestions for something that you think might be something good for me to try, also drop in the comments, let me know. I'd love to hear it. Alright guys, thanks so much for tuning in to check out this video. If you guys enjoyed this content, drop in the comments, let me know what you think. If you have suggestions for future videos or something you'd like to see me cover in an upcoming video, also drop in the comments and let me know. My epoxy casting video should be my next video coming out. I'm really excited for you guys to see that content, so stay tuned if you're into seeing epoxy casting of wasp nests and wasps individuals. So I'm really excited for you guys to see that. Alright guys, thanks so much for tuning in to check out these videos and supporting my channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.